Every time I go out to DECs, I say to my DECs, and I talk to them about how they need to be organized and they need to be, and I look at them and I say, Crist sent me here. He asked me to come talk to you as the DECs. Asked if you could get a work list. You know why? Because he is a Democrat and he needs help in the legislature because he's not getting done what he needs to get done with the Republicans there. So I think that's a good reason for us to get engaged. And now let's talk about
there are Republicans in the Democratic Party that work to our disadvantage. Do you understand that? Yeah, okay, and I include her amongst them.
I mean, why didn't somebody ask her about that? We asked her. When you walked in, that's the first thing we said.
What's the deal? What's the $3,500?
We got her in the corner and we said, what's this all about?
I'd like to.
And I didn't like her answer, but what am I going to say?
Okay, yeah. That's what.
The only thing that I got was
she's making up some bullshit about the Port of Miami. Dade County. No. Who writes the check? Al Cardenas. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. According, it's like a total, including that $42,000, we have like $150,000 a year. She's telling this other old lady over here that I talked to, a nice old lady, that asked her the same thing. Well, I got this lobbying firm making $200,000 a year, whatever. It's like
claims that it's her own firm, the firm that she's not her, it's the firm.
Okay, well, where's your focus? Where's your focus?
What she should have said is, I'll never speak to him again. I'm not going to have another word with her.
We have a plan to take back the state house by 2010. John, how are you?
Very good, Karen.
Thanks.
Just drove all the way down here to just hear your side of the story on this Miami Herald.
I'm not worried about it, John.
Well, there's a lot of people that are very concerned about it.
Okay. So, what do you want me to say?
Well, I mean, if you work for Pepsi, can you honestly do some consulting on the side for
Well, I don't work for him.
He signs your check, right?
He does, no. His check comes from the Miami-Dade County Commission who said, we need some Democrats.
The paper said that you're working on a number of lobbying deals together.
No. He said that I have the Miami-Dade contract that he has. They said to him, since the Congress has changed to be Democrats, that they want to have some Democrats representing them in Washington, D.C. My former staff person, Eric Gould, who worked as my counsel for the Ways and Means, who worked for the Clinton White House, is who I have my partnership with. They did a contract with me to help Miami-Dade be able to talk about port security. That's it.
The ordinary person, and I've been that ordinary person, that started out in your campaign in 2002, actually, okay, prior to that, Al Gore. Walking the pavement, whether it's those people walking the pavement, getting people out to vote, or writing a check in any amount. Sometimes it's a lot more painful for people to write a check for $25 than it is for
somebody. I agree.
$2,500.
I agree.
And so the public is not really able to digest that well, and quite frankly, neither am I. And neither are a lot of people. The concern is, you know, if there's only one party in Florida that money party, and you represent the Democratic side, and Al Cardenas is representing the Republican side, where do the ordinary people fit in? I mean, you only have so much time.
John, excuse me. Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Do you think port and airport security is important?
Yes, and I absolutely believe it's important.
Okay.
But here's what I would suggest: that if this were truly an important issue to be working on, and working on it with the Republicans, would you have to take a check for it?
You know, John, it is a.
Would you not have made a public announcement that's saying, I'm going to be working with the Republicans on, in an effort to...
John, to be honest with you, I never thought it was, I got to tell you, I never thought about it. Maybe I should have. But the fact of the matter is I didn't. I don't know how this story began. The fact of the matter is I've been lobbying before I took this job. I made it very clear that I was going to be doing that.
Well, the fact of the matter is that when we're talking about receiving a check that somehow is passing through a conduit that includes Al Cardenas, the architect of Republican domination.
Now has fallen out of, the grace of the Congress because of the fact that Democrats took over.
Right.
Do you know how many K Street people are hiring Democrats today?
That's great, but that's
exactly right. So we're taking money away from Republicans.
But that's part of the money party insider game that leaves the people, wondering where they fit in.
John, you know what? You and I are never going to agree on this.
Well, no, because people like myself, people that walk the pavement, they don't get paid to do what they do.
So do I.
But you're getting paid $100,000 a year.
Yeah, and I left a job, or was taken out of a job of $150,000.
Right.
No, and they came to me and they said, please provide a leadership position in the Democratic Party, right?
But
is that on?
Huh?
Is that on?
I don't know.
Well, I would. If we're going to have a personal conversation, then I'm not going to talk to you if that's on.
Actually, yeah. Well, I think that people want to know. If you can't talk about it on the record, then...
John, I have no problem talking on the record, and I've made it very clear that I'm not afraid of this issue. I think it is perfectly okay for me who started. No, John. No, wait a minute. I have always had a lobbying company on the side before I took this over, and I said when I took it over, there were people that knew that I was doing lobbying. I've always done that.
Well, the point is, you stated that when you took this job, you left a $150,000 a year job, and you made a choice to provide.
No. I didn't leave that job. I was doing that job, and if you ask my DNC members, they knew that I was doing some lobbying on the side. It has not taken, look, John, it has not taken away from anything that I do. Okay, if I get criticized when I criticize Bill Young. Well, you need to know, you have to know that there are times when I've come to St. Petersburg, people didn't show up because I criticized Bill Young as Democrats. And, I'm doing the same job I did whether I'm doing this or not.
Well, I think there's people, when we talk about, for example, the 2006 election, people are concerned about, how well that went and what you've been saying. Well, it didn't go well.
Yeah, it did, John.
It did not go well. You can paint what you're talking about any way you want.
Fine.
But look at Glenn Clayton. How many meetings did you have with Glenn Clayton?
John, you know what? You and I are just going to disagree. I'll tell you what. It is why I am doing these kinds of events, so that I can have the money. Okay? The fact of the matter is, how much money did Glenn raise? How much money did you raise?
And how much money did your son receive from the Florida Democrats?
I told you this. My son raised $60,000. He received little or nothing. There was not one mailing. You know what?
Yes, he did. I have the finance report right here. The finance report is says right here, he received $11,000 from the in kind and $4,000 in a check. And that's the finance report, and you just told me again after Citrus County.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
You know what?
Thank you very much.
I'm trying to work.
Thank you very much.